Welcome, friends, to the Vancouver Peace and Justice Fair for 2020. This is our 17th annual Peace and Justice Fair, and of course, like most things this year, it isn't quite like the past. But if you've been pining for public events you usually attend, we want to remind you of the joy of gathering in a beautiful park and experiencing so many people dedicated to making our community and the world more peaceful and just, each in their own unique way. We miss being together with you and the wonderful day you create each year. We hope you will enjoy these reminders of the fair, and you may even discover a new way to be involved with a community group and make new friends. And we have hope we will see all of you in Esther Short Park next year.
I'm Ann McInerney Ogle, Mayor for the City of Vancouver. A proclamation for the Vancouver Peace and Justice Fair. Whereas the annual Vancouver Peace and Justice Fair is a community gathering of vendors, nonprofit groups, and exhibitors coming together to promote a harmonious, healthy, peaceful, and sustainable community. And whereas the Vancouver Peace and Justice Fair builds community among the grassroots peace and justice groups in Southwest Washington, who come together to highlight their common goals of peace and justice at home, in the community, and around the world. And whereas the fair brings all attendees together with a goal of helping those present find further ways to dedicate their lives to peace and justice, and the 17th annual Vancouver Peace and Justice Fair will showcase the hard work and creative spirit of individuals, social justice groups, peace organizations, faith communities, performers, artists, businesses, and environmental activists who are making the world a better place. And whereas the City of Vancouver applauds the organizers of the Peace and Justice Fair and all who participate for their continual efforts to promote peace and social justice. Now, therefore, I, Ann McInerney Ogle, Mayor of Vancouver, do hereby proclaim Saturday, September 12, 2020, as Peace and Justice Virtual Fair Day in Vancouver, and urge all residents to strive to follow the example of harmonious community building and celebration of diversity that exemplifies this event. In witness thereof, I hereunto set my hand and cause the seal of the City of Vancouver to be affixed this 12th day of September, 2020. Thank you.
Down in the depths, in the dark of my heart, all alone in the night. No sun in sight, in a dream, what does anything mean? I can't get a grip on reality. Then I hear a voice telling me I have a choice. It says, hang on, it ain't gonna be long. Stay strong, walk through, walk on. Be still, hand over your will. Give up control, let it be, let it go. Hope, 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 hope.
holding on to something that I just can't see, trying to find some spirituality. Give me a sign, I'm gonna be alright. Help me make it through this desperate night. Then I hear a voice telling me I have a choice. It says,
hang on, it ain't gonna be long. Stay strong, walk through, walk on. Be still, hand over your will. Give up control, let it be, let it go. Stand tall, 'cause we all fall. You're gonna make it in the end, my friend. Hope, 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 hope. Hang on, it ain't gonna be long. Stay strong, walk through, walk on. Be still, hand over your will. Give up control, let it be, let it go. Stand tall, 'cause we all fall. You're gonna make it in the end, my friend. Hope.
You're gonna make it in the end, I said.
Hope.
we're gonna make it in the end, my friend.
We're gonna make it in the end, I said.
Hope.
We're gonna make it in the end, my friend. We're gonna make it in the end, I said.
Hope.
We're gonna make it in the end, my friend.
Welcome to the far middle, that delightful headspace between the far left
Namaste.
and the far right.
Howdy.
We like ideas from both sides of the aisle here and realize that when we hurt the other side, we're really just hurting ourselves.
But when we hurt ourselves, we're also hurting the other side.
Ow! It's only when we stop trying to hurt each other that we can solve big issues, like climate change. Right, guys?
I mean, I don't know about that.
I wouldn't say that at all.
Definitely
Say something
not.
else completely.
Here in the far middle, we support a climate change solution called the Energy Innovation Act. It's a national policy that addresses climate change without growing the size of government or destroying our modern economy. Let me explain.
Nice one.
That was clearly your fault.
Okay, here we
It
go.
was on your side.
My side's
Your
doing just
side
fine
did it.
over here.
Let me explain. Fossil fuels are taxed at the source for every ton of CO2 they put into the air. Energy companies can still do business. They just have to pay a fee if they pollute the air because, well, we all breathe it. The collected money is split up and distributed to every American taxpayer, not the government.
Sounds reasonable.
Yeah, that actually makes sense.
So we all agree then?
No.
The money comes as a monthly check you can use to compensate for higher energy prices or use to invest in clean energy, which doesn't get carbon taxed. With clean energy on an equal playing field, the American free market gets kicked into an innovation frenzy to see who can create the cheapest, cleanest energy to get your business first. We literally can't even imagine what cool tech will pop up because it hasn't been invented yet.
Cool.
And some pretty big hitters support the idea of putting a price on carbon. 27 Nobel Prize-winning economists, literally all living ex-Federal Reserve chairs, and over 3,500 other economists from across the country.
Even oil companies like it.
And like a gazillion nonprofits. This is great.
I agree.
Aw, bring it in, guys! The thing is, we need your help letting Congress know climate change isn't a far left or a far right issue. Visit farmiddle.com to let Congress know that the far middle is alive and well, and that we want them to start working together, shoulder to shoulder, on climate. Go on, save the world. I'll take care of them.
Hello, my name is Marcia Mopu, and along with Sharon Brown, I'm a co-leader of the Vancouver chapter of Citizens Climate Lobby. We invite you to join us, third Saturdays of every month, 10:30 to noon. We attempt to influence our members of Congress to pass a fee on carbon emissions. We are ordinary citizens doing extraordinary work for the planet. We need your voice added to ours, so please join us, citizensclimatelobby.org, and we'll get you a link to the next meeting. Future generations will thank us.
You don't know me, do you? I'm Jane Addams. Yes, the same Jane Addams that helped start Hull House in Chicago way back in 1889. And you know how we established our programs there? We walked around the neighborhood and we listened. We asked people what they needed. It was a terrible place to live. Little tiny apartments, and everybody was so poor, and they came from countries all over Europe after the wars. And you know what was interesting? They all wanted the same thing. They wanted health for their families, a safe place to live, and a positive future. And that's what we worked on at Hull House. We included them in every program's plan. And we were very, very successful, I must say. Well, is that any different from today? Isn't that what you want for your family? A safe place to live, good health, and a good future? Nowadays, it's up to you. Vote. That's the first thing. You know what your family needs. So you vote for the person that is most likely to provide that. And they'd better listen to you. And if they don't, you go and advocate. You push them a little bit. And if they still don't listen, vote them out. And then you run for office. Yes. Don't forget to listen to your constituents if you're successful. Now, if you like the work, maybe you want to go on from there and represent your community in the state legislature or Congress. You can do it. Go ahead. Listen to your neighbors and work with them to achieve a good future. But first, don't forget, you must vote.
The way the museum is focused on saving history is essentially by reaching out to the community and finding out what objects and also what stories are still available for us to collect and that we can properly care for within the space that we have.
The Clark County Historical Museum is viewed, well, a little bit as an unknown. People come in and they're like, wow, I had no idea this was here. When they get here, I think that it is not a typical museum. I think that they are blown away by the way that the exhibits are set up, the way that the museum interacts with the community through History on Tap, through our speaker series, through our walks. I think that it's really different for a historical museum because it's not just about the objects, it's about the stories.
I think one of the biggest challenges is that people don't understand how important what they have is. Often we hear, I'm not a leader, or my family wasn't important, when the reality is everybody who's been here has a story to tell that is important to how we've gotten to this place and who we're going to be in the future.
You know, as we continue to move into the future as an institution, I think what we want to see, the institution grow into is to become a facilitator of the community story in a much broader sense, to understand and respect the fact that we're a museum and we have a building, but really break ourselves out into the community where we're working with different organizations, working with businesses, we're working with government entities to help them both save their story and understand the best ways to do that, and then also work with them to help communicate that and share the narratives that they have. And so we're really looking at beyond the walls of the museum while also respecting and honoring the fact that the building is an artifact in its own right and the objects we hold are very important and key to our mission.
What about peace?
little house of joy is washed away in all your countless tears. What about peace? Reach out and I will take your hand. We'll find a way. We'll find that peace together. What about peace? What about love? Together we are stronger now. We're stronger now than we were alone. What about peace? When you were lost and feel so alone, like you might disappear inside the night and never find your way, let's face the dawn and watch a new horizon grow, lighting up the world into a better place. What about peace? Reach out and I will take your hand. We'll find the way. We'll find that peace together. What about peace? What about love? Together we are stronger now. We're stronger now than we were alone. What about peace?
Every day, people are deprived of their basic human rights because of their identity or the peaceful expression of their beliefs. They are put in prison, some forced to confess to crimes by means of torture. Amnesty International's mission is to stop the torture, release the prisoners, and promote human rights for everyone. Its researchers investigate these cases and send action requests to our members, who write to government officials, insisting that they abide by the international human rights agreements their countries have signed on to. We gather signatures on petitions and raise our voices on behalf of those who have been silenced. In recent years, Group 48 has focused on cases of prisoners in China, Indonesia, East Timor, Central Africa, Darfur, Guantanamo Bay, Iran and Saudi Arabia, and prisoners on death row in the U.S. And we write to the prisoners themselves, letting them know that they are not forgotten, that we are working for their release, that they should not lose hope. Our efforts get results, with people freed, the stopping of torture, investigations undertaken. We work to increase public awareness, hosting lectures and sponsoring film screenings, and members have met with legislators at the regional and national level. In addition to work on the cases of specific individuals, Amnesty works on the broad spectrum of threats to human dignity and equality, including reports and campaigns on refugee and migrant rights, the epidemic of gun violence, elimination of the death penalty, the use of violence and excessive force by police. To learn more about our organization, visit us at aipdx.org or call us at 503-662-2483.
Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. on walking, and keep on talking, marching on to freedom land. Ain't gonna let no jailhouse turn me round, turn me round, turn me around. Ain't gonna let no jailhouse turn me round. I'm gonna keep on walking, and keep on talking, marching on to freedom land. David! Turn me round, oh, turn me round. Ain't gonna let intolerance turn me round. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, I'm marching on to freedom land. Last time, ain't gonna let nobody turn me round, turn me round, turn me around. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, I'm marching on to freedom land, and we're marching on to freedom land.
Hi, my name is Caroline, and I've only driven electric vehicles. Today, I'm going to show you what it's like to drive an electric vehicle, and my mom will be asking some common questions.
That's me.
You can just plug in your car at home. You can even use the same outlet that you use to plug in your phone.
So how often do you have to go to the stinky gas station and touch the same pump handle that everyone else has touched all day long?
I've never had to go to a gas station before.
How much does it cost to drive the car 100 miles?
$2. Oh, hi. Didn't see you there. Now I'm gonna start up the car. No, okay. Now I'm gonna start the car up.
Okay, you gonna start the car?
Ha ha ha.
The car is on, people. So when you're at low speeds, the car makes a little bit of noise so someone can hear you in a parking lot. And this is the noise that it makes. It's just like a really low. It's very quiet, isn't it? Normally you don't hear it this quiet because Caroline has music on loud.
Just joking, everyone.
So do you like driving an electric car?
Yes, honestly, it's just so much quieter when I'm in these cars compared to like my friends' cars. It's really weird for me to be in like a gas-powered car now and hear how loud they are.
Yeah.
And it's way smoother to drive, I think. Personally, I really love it.
Is it kind of, is it like driving an old beater car and if you need to pass somebody up, you have a hard time?
No. My dad knows plenty on the subject. He likes to pass up people all the time.
Okay, shh. All right, let's pull onto the street. Give it some power. Woo-hoo!
In the midst of new dimensions, in the face of changing ways, who will lead the pilgrim peoples wandering in their separate ways? God of rainbow, fiery pillar, leading where the eagles soar, we, your people, ours the journey, now and ever, now and ever, now and evermore. Through the flood of starving people, distractions and despair. Who will lift the olive branches? Who will light the flame of care? God of rainbow, fiery pillar, leading where the eagles soar. We, your people, ours the journey, now and ever, now and ever, now and evermore. As we stand a world divided by our own self-seeking schemes, grant that we, your global village, might envision wider dreams. God of rainbow, fiery pillar, leading where the eagles soar. We, your people, ours the journey, now and ever, now and ever, now and evermore. We are man and we are woman, all persuasions old and young, each a gift in your creation, each a love song to be sung. God of rainbow, fiery pillar, leading where the eagles soar. We, your people, ours the journey, now and ever, now and ever, now and evermore. Should the threats of dire predictions cause us to withdraw in pain, may your blazing phoenix spirit resurrect the church again. God of rainbow, fiery pillar, leading where the eagles soar. We, your people, ours the journey, now and ever, now and ever, now and evermore.
Western Bluebirds, American Robins at the Peace and Justice 2020 Virtual Fair, Vancouver, USA. This is Gwendolyn Morgan, Clark County Poet Laureate, 2018 to 2020. This is how it begins. First light, Cheerio song of robins, loops of blue sky between stars, eagle whistles before anyone wakes up, prayers in Arabic, Spanish, Hebrew, Chuckese, Cambodian, Russian, Swahili. 100 languages spoken here as the alphabet arcs toward Aleph. Alleluia of red-breasted robins. Golden dome of Sikh temple. Celtic cross of Catholic, Presbyterian, and Unity churches. Methodist or Lutheran hymns. So many Christians. The Baha'i and UUs have every symbol represented. Even the pagans are putting peanut butter and raspberry jam on whole wheat toast before you. Who is putting honey on sopapillas, Honeycrisp apples, drinking masala chai or sweet tea? Looking at privilege, who was evicted this week? Who was arrested? Break it down like the U.S. Census. The unmarked car outside the housing complex. No solicitor's sign outside the apartment door. I'm not soliciting, the ICE agent says. Flashes a gold star or badge with implicit bias. Scan the skin color, then license plate. Drinking an Americano while they wait for you. Wait, this isn't justice. The Peace and Justice Fair is on Saturday every year. Sabbath day of rest for everyone who goes to a synagogue or a seventh day. Rainbow flags flying next to Black Lives Matter, upside down Americana. The western bluebirds gather at the river, singing their own prayers, plain song, 1,000 languages, songs of other species, intersectionality, the watershed of white fragility, white supremacy, unspoken privilege of having more than enough when the child in front of you hasn't had breakfast. No money in the purse for groceries, no savings account, no internet access, maybe a Chromebook from school with a sticker of a white llama on it. This child is hungry for more than justice, losing their breath for peace. This is how it begins.
Thank you for your letter. It's good to know that you're safe. Seems the ocean's colder than ever, but you and your crew were men of faith.
Ang mga seafarers ay isa sa mga exploited sectors ng lipunang Pilipino. Ang kanilang kalagayan ay hindi hiwalay sa kalagayan ng sambayanang Pilipino.
Together, we can continue to protect and promote the rights and welfare of Filipinos in the U.S., the Philippines, and those at sea.
Beer you're drinking is cold. Now ay ang karagatan. Pumatnubay at ligtas kayo, kaibigan. Like a prayer on a gentle wind, may the ocean carry you safely, my friend.
Seafarers are critical workers. They're also invisible workers. And it's our hope that in joining this coalition, we can help spread the word about how critical seafarers are to the rest of us, and we can bring more people to bear to take care of the needs of these very critical workers on the West Coast.
You a sweet little boy, yellow walls and silent hallways. Get up early and work 12 hours, and you see her face on every surface. Short shows, cold coffee, and time.
Jane Addams again. I wanted to tell you about some organizations that you might be interested in. You could contribute your good works to the betterment of mankind by participating in any number of activities. Here's some examples. When we at Hull House wanted to see movement forward for all womankind, we joined the Progressive Party. We were suffragists, and we knew that eventually we'd get the vote. So, when Teddy Roosevelt was nominated for president, we wanted all people to be able to participate, and he said no. The Progressive Party refused to recognize the contributions of Black people, of African Americans. And I want to tell you that we would not have had a medical clinic at Hull House if it were not for Harriet Rice, who came to us because nobody else would allow her to practice medicine in Chicago. Now, that angered me so much that I helped found the NAACP. Then, thinking later, a few years later, I realized that you can't have peace without justice. So, I helped found the ACLU. And then I worked on peace and preventing us from entering World War I, because I knew the devastation that war causes. And unfortunately, we were not successful. When I went to visit Europe after World War I and wrote about the terrible conditions in Germany, they called me a traitor. So I started another organization with friends in Europe. It's called the Women's International League for Peace and Freedom, and that one might interest you. Of course, there are a lot of other peace organizations these days. Now, I really didn't expect to get the Nobel Prize in 1931. I mean, I was very honored to be the first woman, and I felt vindicated. My concerns about families in Germany after World War I. But it also gave me the opportunity to thank all those women who worked with me all those years for the betterment of our families all over the world. And that's your job now. You can contribute now. Go ahead.
Friends, we have the power.
We can bring change to our community.
This power comes only once every 10 years.
So let's make sure that we use this power now.
Completar el censo es una forma de mostrar nuestro poder.
It's time to use our power and bring a better future for our communities.
So let's make sure we get counted.
Pero cuando completamos el censo, obtenemos más recursos para nuestra comunidad.
For all the things we need in our community.
Like hospitals,
transportation projects,
and schools. Our census.
Y हमारी ताकत है.
Nuestro censo.
Nuestro poder.
Our census.
Our power.
We all have the power. Complete your census today.
A free bird leaps on the back of the wind and floats downstream till the current ends, and dips his wing in the orange sun rays and dares to claim the sky. But a bird that stalks down his narrow cage and so sees through his bars of rage. His wings are clipped, his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The cage bird sings with a fearful trill of things unknown but longed for still. His tune is heard on a distant hill, for the cage bird sings of freedom. The free bird thinks of another breeze, and the trade winds salt through the sighing trees. The fat worms waiting on a dawn bright lawn, and he names the sky his own. But a cage bird stands on a grave of dreams, his shadow shouts on a nightmare scream. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The cage bird sings with a fearful trill of things unknown but longed for still. His tune is heard on the distant hill, for the cage bird sings of freedom. The cage bird sings with a fearful trill of things unknown but longed for still. His tune is heard on a distant hill, for the cage bird sings of freedom.
Hi, my name is Gabriela Yuri, and I'm portraying Dolores Huerta.
With COVID-19, we need to protect ourselves and our neighbors with a mask. In the time of Dolores Huerta, they had to wear a face mask so they could protect themselves from the harmful pesticides in the field. And they had to do a lot of advocacy for them to be able to have these resources. So let's use our mask and protect ourselves, just like in the past times with Dolores Huerta. Have a great day.
Still helping, always caring. The 50-some volunteer members of Assistance League Southwest Washington transform lives. Kids in foster care prepare for the school year by shopping for clothes at Fred Meyer, and teens entering care choose brand new outfits from our closet. People treated for assault at any local hospital get assault survivor kits, new clothes and toiletries so they can begin to heal. Foster children get beautiful My Life storybooks, handmade binders to hold records, pictures, and memorabilia as they move from home to home. Children in programs at Innovative Services Northwest benefit in many ways. Those starting kindergarten get backpacks full of supplies. And all the kids are treated to a fall festival with games, face painting, and brand new books. The children also help plant and tend a playground garden and even get to eat the produce for lunch. Operation School Bell serves children and their families in 25 schools. Kids get needed clothing, shoes, and toiletries. Families receive grocery gift certificates. And in this time of distance learning, we supply earphones and styluses to be used at home. Our newest program is Share a Bear, providing cuddly toys to first responders so they can give them to kids in scary situations. Won't you join us in our volunteer work that transforms lives and builds community?
Symbolic imagery carries the transformative power of a million words without a single syllable. The potential energy that arises from curiosity cannot be measured or weighed, for it is free from the confines of time and space, as thought forms carry through the hearts and minds of many. Karma is opportunity. My name is Jamie, and this is the story of how I utilize art and open-eye public meditation to evoke self-inquiry and invoke the divinity within the soul of humanity. As a Washington State University graduate of public affairs and criminal justice, I discovered it was easy to see the system of greed that exploits the resources of our great Mother Earth and the labors of its people. I learned that it's simple enough to understand the corrupt relationship between corporations, banks, and governments that direct the policies and norms that determine our trajectory, the corporatocracy. The difficult part of change is taking responsibility.
KXRW 99.9 FM is Vancouver's only local independent talk music radio station. We are volunteer-powered and values-driven. KXRW is a nonprofit platform that delivers hyperlocal voices, quality programming, valuable insights, and a place to build community. We value inclusion, equity, and social justice in Southwest Washington and beyond. KXRW launched in 2017, and our foundation is community support and involvement. This is vital for our continued growth and sustainability. We focus on educational and informative talk-based programming and feature local and rural music as well. In our talk content, we highlight nonprofits doing amazing work, documentaries on social and environmental issues, local business spotlights, upcoming events, and field reporting, and many other topics of interest. This is your radio station and we need you. You can make a difference by volunteering or donating to KXRW. Interested in becoming a field reporter or producing your own show? KXRW is the place to bring your voice and your message to our airwaves. An informed community is a healthier community. Learn more about KXRW and the different ways to tune in at www.kxrw.fm. Thanks so much for listening.
Hello every one of you people who love peace, freedom. I'm so glad to be here with you today and talk about, or let's revisit our peace and justice fair that we had last year. I had the great honor of impersonating Miss Harriet Tubman. We have impersonators every year. They're also called reenactors. But I was so thrilled to be able to do that. And I think that having to do it this way this year is quite a challenge. But we hope that you will enjoy it and come back and visit us and remember us next year. Peace and freedom, that's what we want for ourselves and for our loved ones. And while we're discussing peace and freedom right here at this moment, and you know Ms. Tubman worked very hard for freedom. And so freedom is a very important element in our democracy. And right now, at this very moment, our democracy and our freedom and our peace and our justice is being challenged and it's threatened. And so I want every one of you who's able to make sure that you get out there and get your ballot in any way you can. We need to make our votes count because our peace and freedom and liberty depend on your vote. Now, this will show you, or should be an example of how important the vote is for all of us. And I'm sure that Miss Harriet Tubman fought for that to happen as well, along with the suffragettes of her time. And this is the 100th year of the women being able to vote. So this is what I'm begging you during this one particular time of our peace and justice time that we spend together. Vote. Thank you for coming.
As a social worker and art activist, I have had the honor to become the silent observer. I have seen in every person's struggle the same as I saw in myself, the desire to be free. Free from the tyranny of oppression, free from the polarizing concepts of you versus me, of us versus them, free from the horrifying stories playing on repeat, capturing us in roles of victim and villain again and again. My journey to myself has shown me many things thus far. Curiosity requires knowing that you do not know and a letting go of beliefs. Self-observation of one's thoughts, feelings, and actions allows you to see yourself not as a mere object, a divinely flawed personality and form, but the divine, the subject of infinite existence consciousness in action. In a symbolic sense, we are the particle of water within the ocean, and together we make waves. My determination to understand the shadows that dwell in the world around me and within my own nature resulted in a great expansion of feeling and an undeniable connection with the entirety of our being, which was never lost, just hidden.
Okay, my name is Mali and I am reenacting Malala Yousafzai from Swat, Pakistan. When she was just 15 years old, she was shot in the head by the Taliban on her way to school. And as a result, she has become the youngest Nobel Peace Prize winner in history for her efforts to educate every child. Very recently, she graduated from the University of Oxford with her degree in philosophy, politics, and economics. One of her most famous quotes, and my favorite quote of hers, is "One child, one teacher, one book, and one pen can change the world." Malala inspires me because she is fearless in the pursuit of her education and dreams.
Hi, I'm Bill Bauman. I'm the Mobility Coordinator for the Human Services Council. Since 1957, the Human Services Council has worked to improve the lives of community members in Southwest Washington. Today, our focus is on helping Southwest Washington residents get to where they need to go through a multitude of transportation programs and services. Our non-emergency medical transportation program provides medical transportation for those who are on Washington State Medicaid and have difficulty in accessing their medical appointments due to a lack of transportation. Our Reserve a Ride program aims to help those who do not qualify for Washington State Medicaid by providing transportation to life-sustaining medical appointments such as chemo, dialysis, or radiation. For those who are looking in assistance in accessing work or work-related activities, our Employment Transportation Program partners with community agencies to provide bus passes. Those same participants may be able to access our Bike to Work program, where they can receive a free bike and training class to help them access work or work-related activities. For those who need assistance in accessing medical, nutritional, or social activities and don't qualify for the programs above, our Volunteers in Motion program can help by providing a volunteer driver. Our Mobility Coordinator works within the community to improve transportation options and resources for all community members. The Trip Resource Center allows anyone to find the transportation options that best fits their need through an online website or phone number. To find out more specific information about the Human Services Council, please visit our website at www.hsc-wa.org or through the Peace and Justice Fairs website. Please stay tuned for a big announcement coming in the near future from the Human Services Council.
In unity, we dance through the darkness and into the light of love. The shadows that dwell in humanity as a whole are the same that dwell within the individual soul. The outcomes of our destructive and oppressive methods of production and consumption are resulting in the greatest injustice our species has ever seen, its own demise, not to mention the annihilation of countless species and ecosystems. What we create in our external reality is a manifestation of our internal state of awareness and use of power. Mr. Rogers was correct in saying, "You are perfect, just the way you are." And so too is Jordan Peterson in saying, "Humility is recognition of personal insufficiency and the willingness to learn." Examining our shadows with courage and without shame is to know our ability to do harm and choose not to. not in obedience, not for fear of punishment in this life or the mysterious beyond, not to earn one's worthiness or obtain an egoic status, but because one feels their will to love intelligently.
Thank you. I don't know where all these people came from. It's kind of hard to hide a flash mob in a crowd this size.
Hi, I'm Don Orange. I'm here to portray Pete Seeger today. It's quite a privilege, and thank you. Anybody doesn't know about Pete Seeger? Pete Seeger, from the time before the Second World War, as an amazing folk singer, participated in movements from the movements of strikes in the 30s, the movements against sending scrap metal off to the Axis powers to use back against us, and continuously worked with labor movements, civil rights movements, and so on. Through his career, he lived to be 94 years old, and one of the reasons I think this is a privilege to do, and it's important to know, I talked to a lady, wonderful lady, as a matter of fact, she's my pastor. She's 55 years old, and she was raised in the Midwest, and until a year or two ago, she'd never heard of Pete Seeger. And some of this stuff gets out of our history books and out of our, due to where we get our information. A wonderful thing about Pete Seeger is he never gave up from the March on Washington in 1963, being blacklisted in the McCarthy area in the 50s. I believe that he sang at Obama's first inauguration. And if memory serves me correctly, he was fortunate enough not to see what we got after Obama. And I think the message that I get from Pete Seeger, I couldn't sing if my life depended on it, but it's kind of like what we get from John Lewis, which is just to persevere and to do what we can, when we can, where we can. I'm talking about a man that died at 94, something that's really inspiring to me, and I don't know her name, but the young woman that filmed Floyd getting killed, George Floyd getting killed in Minneapolis, was 17 years old and took a film of the police armed police killing this man for over 10 minutes, and she didn't quit. She didn't lose her courage. Young people are doing amazing things. It's a job of old people like me to do our part, and it's a job of all of us to persevere and carry on. Most of us aren't anything like John Lewis or Martin Luther King. Rosa Parks stepped up when it was time, and she also worked all her life in civil rights. I think it's our job when we find a place and find what we can do to do all that we can to make a better world.
Hello, and welcome to this introduction to Camus Friends Church. In this video, I'm going to tell you a little bit about who we are and what it means to us to be Quakers in the 21st century. We consider ourselves Christ-centered Quakers. We take Jesus and the Bible seriously, but we also know that the Bible is not a science textbook. Not all Quaker meetings have a pastor, but we do. He's cool. Camus Friends welcomes all people as equals, especially including LGBTQ individuals and families. Each service also includes about 20 minutes of silent worship. Silent worship goes back to the very beginning of our religious society. Religious Society of Friends was founded in England by George Fox. His most fundamental insight was this, that everyone can have some knowledge of God and of truth through direct experience. At the heart of Quakerism are 6 testimonies, or principles, for what a spirit-led life ought to look like. The 6 testimonies are simplicity, peace, integrity, community, equality, and stewardship for all of our gifts, but especially stewardship for the earth. Quakers have a long history of social activism, and at Camus Friends, we see ourselves as following as part of that tradition. In recent years, Camus Friends members joined the March for Our Lives. Camas Friends hosted a Lights for Liberty candle vigil. We are trying to do our part to help the poorest of the poor in our world. But we also do what we can for dignity and compassion close to home. Individually and also in groups, Quakers try to follow the Spirit to discern where we are called to act. If any of this sounds intriguing to you, we hope you'll seek us out to learn more. Thank you for your time.
I am Carrie Chapman Catt, and I delivered this address on February 13, 1920, at the founding of the League of Women Voters, the year that the 19th Amendment was ratified, winning more American women the right to vote. I said then, we all know that the end of our long struggle is near. We comprehended the truth of Victor Hugo. There is one thing more powerful than kings and armies, an idea whose time has come. We knew that the time for our idea was here. Suffragists were never dismayed when they were a tiny group and all the world was against them. What care they now when all the world is with them? March on, suffragists, the victory is yours. The trail has been long and winding, the struggle tedious and wearying. You made sacrifices and received many hard knocks. Be joyful today. Someday the history of these past few months will be written, and if the writer catches the real spirit of it all, it will be a thrilling story. Ours has been a movement with a soul, a dauntless, unconquerable soul ever leading on. Women came, served, and passed on. But others came to take their places, while the same great soul was ever marching on through hundreds, nay, thousands of years. That soul is here today. Women, be glad today. Let your voices ring out the gladness in your hearts. Let the joy be unconfined, and let it speak so clearly that its echo will be heard around the world and find its way into the soul of every woman of any and every race and nationality who is yearning for opportunity and liberty, still denied her sex.
My name's Justice, and 17 years ago, when I was 4 months old, the doctor said I wasn't supposed to make it. I was born with a liver disease called biliary atresia. I was jaundiced, I had a really big swollen tummy. I was nicknamed Fustus, actually, because I was super fussy. The doctors told my mom she shouldn't expect me to live to a year old, and now I'm 17 and I'm perfectly fine. I was listed for transplant at 4 months old, and none of my family was a viable donor candidate for me, so my mom's best friend actually ended up being my liver donor, which was super duper cool. Every milestone of my life, from walking to talking to getting my driver's license, is a result of organ donation and could not have happened without that gift of life.
Sing it with me today. I'm gonna sing like a 3-syllable. It's called Om, Home. Om is the sound of the universal compassion and peace. Is the sound of universal compassion, generosity. Home is the sound of universal wisdom and protection. So when I do Om, Home. Ready? I believe you all can sing. Oh. Wait, one more.
The villages in the Portland area are part of a national movement, recognizing that the options for people as they get older to be able to stay in their home is very important.
Being a part of the village movement and being a part of a village, then seniors have people to connect with, and they can create community, create family.
I may not be able to avoid going to assisted living, but I can delay it.
The village functions because you're there, and it's finding your niche of what you're going to give and where the places you're going to want to ask for things you need.
People who are active have better quality of life.
It's made me think of it as more of an adventure than I would have thought of, that there are some advantages to being older.
Things I enjoyed doing and I wasn't doing by myself. So the social opportunities are really big for me.
Some of my closest friends are North Star villagers.
I can age with this group.
Beneath our ignorance, deep inside the soil of our existence, is the light of consciousness nestled inside a seed. An innate thirst for the waters of wisdom will emerge, bringing us towards the love of the warming sun when we choose to be free. We are at a crucial point in the history of humanity, with collapsing ecological systems and horrific suffering created by an economic model designed to exploit and self-destruct. Unchecked capital accumulation and corporate power have been exchanged for the basic needs to sustain life on Earth. The few who hold the mass symbols of wealth paint the illusion of order. The direction of consumption fuels the system of greed. The power to develop a newfound harmonic frequency based on intuitive mind and equity lies in the hands of the many. If change is going to come, it begins with you and me.
I'm Cindy Corrie, president of the Rachel Corrie Foundation for Peace and Justice. Our nonprofit was founded by our family and our community in 2003 after my daughter Rachel Corrie was killed by the Israeli military in Gaza while she was standing in solidarity with Palestinians whose homes were threatened with demolition. We envision a connected world where there is appreciation for differences, cooperation between peoples, and where human rights and social, economic, and environmental justice are understood to be prerequisites for peace. Our focus is Palestine. What does the work of the Rachel Corrie Foundation look like? With Palestinian partners at the Women's Program Center, Rafah, and Al-Basma Center for the Disabled, we support grassroots initiatives that further our connections with the people of Gaza. We support scholarship programs at the Evergreen State College and at Birzeit University in the West Bank. Locally, regionally, and beyond, we educate and advocate for Palestinian rights, for a just peace in the Middle East, and to strengthen the movement for equality. We unequivocally stand in solidarity with Black communities in their fight for justice and see our commitments to Black liberation and Palestinian liberation deeply connected. Like Rachel, we support art and the written word as tools for change. During October, please stay tuned for our digital Olympia Arab Festival with music, film, writing, and conversations with Arab Americans and the Arab world. Our work continues with generous support from donors, a small staff, and our volunteers. With remote work, we're learning how to involve those at a distance, so please be in touch with us with your ideas, your questions, and to join us. Our website is rachelcorriefoundation.org, and you can contact us at info@rachelcorriefoundation.org. Thank you.
Greetings, Vancouver Peace and Justice Fair. My name is Michael Niehaus, and I am lay leader at Vancouver Heights United Methodist Church. This is our 5th year being a part of Vancouver Peace and Justice Fair, and we are so happy and proud to participate again this year. We miss seeing our peace and justice loving friends and neighbors in person this year, but of course applaud the fair's organizers for adhering to our state and local health officials' guidelines for group gatherings and common sense by finding this new way to celebrate this year. Jesus was perhaps the greatest advocate for peace and justice for all God's children, and as followers of Christ, we at Vancouver Heights carry out that sacred lesson. Here are some things we stand for at Vancouver Heights, things we believe Jesus would stand for if he were walking the earth today. Vancouver Heights United Methodist Church stands for the dignity of all people, climate justice, racial justice, non-proliferation of weapons, migrants and refugees, eradicating poverty, education for all, maternal and child health, economic justice, gun violence prevention, criminal justice reform, indigenous rights, religious freedom, fair trade, sustainability, women and children, environmental justice, LGBTQ+ rights, healthy food for all, civil rights, domestic violence prevention, addiction care, mental health, human trafficking prevention, abolishing the death penalty, living wages, worker justice, clean water, voting rights, peace with justice, an AIDS-free world, multilateralism, human rights, health care. In a word, justice. We are at 5701 MacArthur Boulevard in Vancouver. Our website is vancouverheightsumc.org. Find us on Facebook. We love you as God loves all God's children. Peace to you.
Let us turn our attention to the values that will bring us together as brothers and sisters to create a new world not determined by greed and hate, but generosity and love. Let us not fuel ignorance and apathy, but ignite wisdom and caring. Let us not dwell in our differences of interpretation, but unite by weaving our common threads into the most magnificent tapestry that no corporatocracy can shred. It is true that feeling a sense of honor and taking on individual responsibility to serve the needs of one's community and not simply fulfilling the individual needs and desires is imperative to a collective shift. It is also true that this standard of vision must be expected of existing collectives for a swift pivot. Norms of modality are rapidly created from consumer demand and can be designed to benefit both the part and the whole. If the opportunity is embraced, anything is possible. Innovation and education will light the way. This is the time and place to begin. Welcome to the age of Aquarius, my friends.
Hi, my name's Donna Sinclair, and I'm a member of Indivisible Greater Vancouver. IGV is one of thousands of chapters of Indivisible across the country, and it formed in January of 2017 with its first meeting. Our mission is to foster and protect an inclusive and vibrant democracy for all Americans. Our goal is to make the motives of our representatives transparent and hold them accountable for making evidence-based decisions, among many other things. I love IGV because of all the people who participate. Many of them are educators, all of them are activists, and all of them are people who care about their communities. Some of my favorite things that I've been involved with are too many to list, but an immigrant forum that we held, events that teach people not who to vote for, but how to go about voting, and many other things. So I love IGV and I love all of you.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Madrigal, and my husband Salvador wished he could be here, but he claims I can say hello for him too. We are members of Indivisible because we really believe in the power of community. We know that each one of us alone is only able to carry so much, and that when we join forces and we join our energy and our inspiration, we can do some pretty big things. So I think my favorite activity, in addition to the protests that we had down in Esther Short Park, was the Black Lives Matter NAACP organized car rally. And to be part of that, as part of Indivisible, to represent us in that, along with the other 2,000 cars that held up traffic for 3 hours, and it had a just amazingly inspirational moment. I think that's really what keeps bringing me back, because every one of the members brings these things to us, and we create our own and bring you to them. And it's just been the most beautiful, uplifting experience in the time of Trump and COVID that I could ever describe. So please join us.
Hi, I'm Kay Hadziak, and I volunteer through Indivisible Greater Vancouver because it's a very caring and dynamic group that empowers myself and others to create positive changes so that more people can live a quality life. And one of the things I especially like is the informational monthly meetings, and that also gives participants an opportunity to share their ideas and ask questions and be better citizens. So let's do it.
Hi, I'm Lydia Frenzel, and I joined Greater Vancouver Indivisible because I wanted to work with a democracy that involved everyone and supported everyone. I really like that we have local leadership and that we go in depth to our local representatives and our state representatives, and we foster representatives who want an inclusive democracy for all of our citizens. One of the things I particularly liked was when the students were planning marches against gun control and against the shootings which were occurring in the high schools. And we as the adults help provide the points of contact, help provide where do you need to get the permits. The students did all the work and made all the signs and got everything together, but we gave them that helping hand. So we worked together to have a democracy that represents and has a diversity for everyone.
Hi, I'm Melissa Williams, and I'm a member of Indivisible Greater Vancouver because I believe that democracy must be participatory. One of the things that I like most about IGV is the way we educate each other on the importance of local action, local elections, and grassroots work and activism that we can do right here in Southwest Washington to improve the lives of the people who live here. So we hope you will join us. We hope you'll learn more about our organization, and we look forward to seeing you. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Kathy Pickett, the president of the Hudson's Bay branch of AAUW. AAUW has been leading the fight for fair pay and economic opportunity for women since 1881, and the fight continues. In Washington State, women still receive only 79 cents for every dollar paid to a man, and men continue to hold the top positions and to dominate in the highest paying professions. We in AAUW are tenacious though, and we are going to continue to advocate for women and girls. Please join us. Check out our website at hudsonsbay-wa.aauw.net.
I'm Sue Heiss, Secretary of Hudson's Bay Branch. Though AAUW is nonpartisan, we are not values neutral. We fight to remove the barriers and biases that stand in the way of gender equality. We train women to negotiate for pay and benefits and to pursue leadership roles. We advocate for federal, state, and local laws and policies that ensure equity and end discrimination.
I'm Clara Sinkin.
I have been a member of this group for 100 years. No, not quite that long. We meet several times a month, and it's a group where ideas about how the world goes round, ideas about books we've read, ideas about what's going on get examined. I think examined is a good word for what we do. So we'd love to have you join us, really.
Been there since the Peace and Justice Fair started. It was started largely by a group from Vancouver for Peace, a local organization, and we started with maybe one booth, maybe two, and a drum circle. And we had people wandering around pretending to be historic figures. They were in costume in general. And I believe this is still happening. As the years went on, more and more booths joined us. The only requirement was that their aims had to be compatible with our aims of peace and justice.
Welcome to Winter Hospitality Overflow. We are a ministry formed in 2003 in partnership with 42 other communities of faith and local service agencies in the Vancouver area. We provide hospitality, warm smiles, safety, meals during the coldest and wettest seasons of the year. We at St. Paul have been a part of the WHO for 17 years. We have provided our facility and we have beds for single men, 30 of them. Winter Hospitality, or WHO as we call it, they are open 5 months every year from November through March. But recently we have been blessed with a grant from the City of Vancouver that has allowed us, under the directorship of Outsiders Inn, to be open through the spring and the summer months. So we can continue to serve our 30 homeless men off the street with warm hospitality, a warm meal at night, safety to sleep, and a place to do laundry and meet with other fellas. So we give thanks to the City of Vancouver for their grant. We give thanks for Outsiders Inn to being willing to take over the directorship, and we give thanks to St. Paul Lutheran Church for providing the space.
I mean, honestly, it is a privilege to have stayed here over the years, and when I stayed here, it was like the Cadillac of shelters. There was fried chicken and brownies. There's always brownies, and it just was like this was the Red Lion of shelters to get the opportunity to come here. So when I did come here, I remember thinking, why couldn't all shelters be like this with hospitality, and then just add in people that know the resources and know where to get things done, and that seems like all you'd be missing. So a few years down the road, and here I am. I have this opportunity to bring that added piece of knowing how to navigate the resources and how to find what it is people are missing, along with brownies. We still have brownies.
Good morning. I'm Sally Hale. I am sitting here with Jane Johnson, the co-president of the League of Women Voters of Clark County. Jane, tell me about the League.
The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan voter education focused organization. We are open to all individuals. While we are the League of Women Voters, we welcome men and we welcome diversity within our organization. The League focuses on putting out candidates forums, giving voter information. We also do election observers to make sure that we have fair elections. We have a civics branch of our organization, which provides information to schools and explains government. We also have a very active Get Out the Vote, particularly this year.
And why is the League involved with the Peace and Justice Fair?
The League has been a sponsor or a member of the Peace and Justice Fair for a number of years now. We believe in the mission of the organization, and we see it as an opportunity to get out voter education. We also are seeking more diversity within our organization, so it seems like a good opportunity to be able to make people aware of our organization and what we do.
Great. And if someone would like to join the League, how would they go about doing that?
They can go to our website, lwvclarkcounty.org, and there they'll find a membership to register with the League. And there's also information with phone numbers if you wanted to contact somebody.
Thank you.
川港前，百米拥挤爬山，铺张波达拉呢，拉玛基基数年呢，昔日本的勇气，起来人生给你咱学百米勇气，去当年的龙舟，蓝的龙舟。咱去百米驰骋，爬马奔骑满街，迷路出军中上，大胆见那桑年，嘎哇让别定啦。一起拦着兄弟，铺张波达拉人，拉玛提当街为莫了呢，拉你莫了呢，铺张波达拉人。拉玛提当街为莫了呢，拉你莫了。多谢了。
We are PUSO.
Philippine.
U.S.
Solidarity. Organization. Philippines is rich, but the Filipino people are poor.
An economy kept intentionally in shambles by foreign powers and local elites.
A war on drugs. A war on terror. All different names for a war against the people on behalf of monopoly corporations.
Hundreds of workers leaving home every day to work invisible and precarious jobs overseas, such as the seafarers stranded on ships today because of COVID-19.
Now is the time to show solidarity through action, because only through our shared action can we achieve a just and lasting peace in the Philippines.
As an organization, we demand Congress pass the Philippine Human Rights Act, a bill that would end military support to the government of the Philippines until a genuine human rights investigation is held on its use.
We must end the attacks on human rights defenders, like American activist Brandon Lee, who survived an assassination attempt by an assailant armed with bullets paid for by U.S. tax dollars.
We also fight for the rights and welfare of our kababayan seafarers and ensure that their rights and safety are respected, both during and after the COVID-19 pandemic.
We have the power in our hands to fight for lasting change. By mobilizing our communities, we can ensure that human rights and just peace will prevail.
On land and sea, from the U.S. to the Philippines, solidarity is our call to action. Help us pass the Philippine Human Rights Act, and let's make Vancouver a wellspring of U.S.-Philippine solidarity.